Hello and welcome to my first ever YouTube video. I'm super excited to start this journey. I've actually wanted to start YouTube like ages ago, but I've just never got around to doing it. And now that I've recently had my second son, Otis, who is now coming up to 5 weeks old, I thought it was the perfect time to document our life online on YouTube, just to have all the memories. And I love watching YouTube videos and find them super useful, so I thought I would give it a go. So today I thought it would be perfect to start off sharing my birth story whilst it's fresh in my mind, because it was only 5 weeks ago and our brains are so clever they make us forget because, you know, it's painful. I had such a positive birth and such a positive experience, and I want to share it with others so they don't feel so anxious and scared going into birth, because you hear such horror stories and so many bad experiences, and I don't think you hear many positives. So I'll give you a little run through my pregnancy. So I had a quite straightforward pregnancy. I was really ill the first 3 months of my pregnancy. I had HG, which was awful. I had really bad sickness. I couldn't leave my bed. Without my husband, I literally would have not like survived. He literally did everything. I was really lucky. He was able to care for our first child, Cassius, so I could just get as much rest as I needed. And after that, then everything was plain sailing. Apart from, I did have quite a few like growth scans and stuff because baby boy was measuring quite big. They did say to me his head was on the larger side, which was quite worrying. But nothing to be concerned about. But for me, it was worrying, like, how am I gonna birth this big baby? So I was quite anxious leading up to my birth. And again, it's something like people don't really speak about, birthing big babies, and being told your baby has a big head. And there was no sort of reassurance like your baby's got a big head, but you should have, you know, a good vaginal delivery. There's no reason why you can't. And it wasn't until I really was pushing for answers that they just did start reassuring me, saying like, you know, it'll be fine. And to be fair, my midwife was amazing when I expressed my concerns. She said, I have seen many women give birth to big babies, but at the beginning, when I first was told he had a big head, I had no reassurance, and I was so anxious about giving birth, and I thought I'd be induced again, which is something I didn't mind, but I was feeling a bit like anxious about it all. But yeah, so that was my pregnancy. Super quick. I'm trying to keep this video as short as possible because I can go on. So my birth, so I was overdue. So I was 41 weeks and so many days. I can't remember how many days overdue I was. I should have worked it out beforehand, but I was coming up to 42 weeks definitely, because I had an induction booked in on the 10th of August and I went into labour on the 6th. And I did have a feeling I was going to give birth on that weekend. But I just didn't think I would. I just thought, no, I'm just overdue. I'm just going to be induced. This baby's keeping me waiting. And that's another thing. Like, I obviously they give us a due date, obviously for like maternity and to know how many women are going to be birthing in the hospital. But I do think they should make it clear that it's sort of like a birth month, because as soon as your due date comes and goes, you start to feel really like deflated, like I want this baby out, and obviously you're sore, and I was huge. I could barely walk. I did hardly any exercise in my pregnancy because I was just in so much pain and I was so big. But yeah, so I was overdue, and it was Saturday the 6th of, no, it was Friday the 6th of August. And I thought, right, I need to get my oxytocin going. I had a sweep on the Thursday, which was successful, and I actually lost a little bit of my mucus plug. And prior to all of this, like I was getting quite a lot of like tightenings and stuff, and quite a few times I was thinking, oh, I'm going into labour and stuff, but it's just Braxton Hicks, even though I was getting quite like painful ones. I don't remember with my first them feeling the way they did this time round. So it was this Friday the 6th, and I was watching loads of birth vlogs. I thought, you know, looking at babies, my midwife said would really help like bring on labour. So I was watching loads of birth vlogs. I then was watching Love Island, and it was quite like heated episodes. I was laughing and I was getting all excited and I was bouncing on my ball. And then I went up to the toilet and I said to my husband, I think I've lost some of my mucus plug. But with this whole experience was new to me, because with my first I was induced, so I obviously was in a hospital and had my waters broken, stuff like that. So I'd never experienced going into labour naturally, so it was all new to me. So I was thinking, oh, I've lost a bit of my mucus plug, and just rang my mum and I said, I've lost a little bit of my mucus plug, but I don't think it was like, I don't know, it was just like a little bit. And she said, oh, it can take hours from when you, or days when like you lose your mucus plug and stuff. So I was like, okay, thought nothing of it. We got into bed and I started to get a bit of pain, and I thought, oh, let me just time these pains so I can just keep track. So this would have been around about 10:30 at night, coming up 10:45 at night. So we literally just got into bed, and I was laying next to my husband and I was saying, oh yeah, I'm getting a bit of pain. So I timed the first one and then I timed the second pain, and as I was timing it, my waters popped. And it is the weirdest sensation. It is literally like a pop, and it made me jump. So I grabbed my husband and he jumped out of his skin, and I was like, my waters have broken. He's like, is there any water? But I was so scared to move because I was laying on my side. Like, I was like, well, if I move, all this water's gonna come out. And oh my goodness, there's a lot of water. Like, when I had my waters broke in hospital, obviously it's like you're on pads and stuff. I had no pads down, nothing, and there was a lot of water. Like, there was a lot. And I went to the toilet and I was thinking, oh my goodness. I rang triage, and I live 2 seconds away from the hospital, and I rang triage and I said, my waters are broke, and they like you to come in to make sure, I don't know the proper word for it, but baby poo, basically. They want to make sure that there's no baby poo in your waters because it can be dangerous for you and baby. So I rang triage, said my waters have broke, and they said, we are really busy and we're not having anyone in. Would you like to go to a birth centre? And I said, I am like, I want to give birth in a hospital and I live 2 seconds away from the hospital. And she said, hang on, we're doing it case by case. And honestly, at that point, when she went off the phone to speak to someone to see if I could come in, I literally felt like crying, like, oh my goodness, like, we're gonna have to drive to another hospital that could be like 20 minutes away, half an hour away, or even an hour away, when I live 2 minutes away from the hospital. So she got back on the phone, she said, no, it's fine, come in. So I'm panicking, thinking, oh my gosh, my mum needs to get here. Like, what happens if if I give birth? So this is all like the things you think, like, as soon as your water's break, you think your baby's going to come. Obviously not, but that's how you feel. Like, I literally felt like, oh my God, my baby's going to fall out now. But obviously that's not the case. So then we went into hospital. So we got to hospital around 11:15. Like, it all happened really quick. My mum got here super quick, she lives around the corner from me, and yeah, we managed to get to the hospital super quick because we live 2 seconds away from the hospital. So we went into triage, and obviously because of COVID, my husband had to wait outside in the hallway, which I think is really silly, because I've seen loads of other men and stuff in like triage, like on other days when I'd gone up for like monitoring and stuff. So he had to wait in the hallway. They did all my checks, and I was about 1.5 to 2 centimeters dilated, and because I hadn't felt baby move from when my waters had broke, they decided that a doctor had to come see me. So at this point the pain was coming like quite, not regularly, but I was getting quite a bit of pain. So they let my husband come in, and we had to wait for a doctor because she was in emergency C-section. So once she had finished that, she came up and she checked me, like scanned baby. She was happy with baby, but she wanted to keep me in because baby hadn't moved, but she was happy with everything. And she said, I'll either stay in triage or they'll put me to the delivery suite. Well, of course, delivery was busy, so I had to stay in triage, which was fine. And you know, we were so tired because we were going up to bed, so we hadn't slept. So my husband's like falling to sleep, I'm drifting in and out of sleep, and then I started feeling really hot, so I had to get them to get a fan. So then I started to feel obviously quite a lot of pain, but the thing is, I have a quite strong pain threshold, so I was able just to breathe through my contractions. You just sort of zone out. I got my husband to put some relaxing music on, and you just breathe through your contractions. I don't really think you can like learn breathe, like obviously you can learn breathing, but you do what works for you. Like I just was breathing in, breathing out, and yeah, it was fine. I got the lady to get the fan, like I said, and had the fan on, and it was amazing having that on. That I think helped me a lot. So then when it got to about, I think it would have been about like 6 o'clock in the morning, I kept feeling like, oh my god, I need a shit. Like I felt really heavy, like I need a poo. So the midwife came in, and I said, oh, I keep feeling like I need to go for a poo. And she said, oh, let me check you. It's been a while since I last checked you. And she checked me, and she was like, you're now 8 centimeters. Would you like some gas and air? And I was like, oh my god, give me that gas and air. And it was the best thing ever. Like I don't remember the gas and air being that good the first time around. Like I was loving the gas and air. They kept saying like take it easy on the gas and air, but I was thinking this stuff's good. And then they were like, right, we're going to get you over to the delivery suite. And it literally from there went like 0 to 100. I was like, I feel like I need to push. So I had the midwife that came over to take me to the delivery suite. She was like a level in her 3rd year at uni, so she was like thinking, oh my god, like let's get her over. Then the like triage support person, I was saying I can't be without my gas in there, so she was trying to get me like a portable one. And then another midwife came and said, oh, you'll be fine, it's up the corridor. So they got me up the corridor, and I just remember like talking loads of shit to the midwives, like just talking a load of shit basically. Like I don't know what that gas and air was doing to me, but I remember just talking a load of shit, and I was having so much deja vu. Like they're asking me questions, the sounds, like the sounds of the room, it all looked the same. It was like the weirdest experience. It was like I was reliving like my first birth. It was really weird. And then the pain you feel when you're giving birth, I can't explain it. Like they say like contractions are like period pains, but there's a pain to it which is you just can't explain, and all of that comes back and you're like, oh my god, like I remember how it all feels. It was like the weirdest thing. Anyway, I then obviously was ready to push. Well, you know, you're just waiting to obviously dilate more, and then obviously I was ready to push. And I was pushing for about an hour, and I was getting in all different positions. Like I remember like standing up, like I'm on the bed, and then trying to get into all these different positions, and I just felt like nothing was happening. And they were like, oh, a second baby, it should be quicker. And obviously he wasn't coming. So I was thinking, oh, I'm going to need some help to get him out because he's not coming. And they were like, no, like it's fine, you can do this, you can do this. Because I do feel like I'm a really like positive person, but you do get to a point in labour when you're tired. Like I had not slept all night, and you just like, I can't do it, like he's not coming out. And in the end they got my legs up on the, I don't know what they're called, just like I put my legs up and I managed. There was at one point actually my foot was in the midwife's face, and not gonna lie, that midwife was amazing because my feet were crusty. Like I didn't have time to sort my toes out. Like I wasn't expecting to go into labour when I did, and my toes were long. Like I would have been stabbing that midwife in the neck with my toenails. Like my foot was in her face. Like she was amazing. I loved my midwives, they were so good. So I managed to push him out on my own with just gas and air. And the reason why it took an hour to get him out, and the positioning, and why I was so like uncomfortable, he was back to back. So what that basically means is he came out the wrong way. So his back was against my back, which makes it more painful and harder to deliver. And everyone that I speak to when I say he was back to back and he was £10, they all say he had a cesarean. I'm like, no, I squeezed him out. I did tear, it wasn't a bad one, but I did tear, but it was fine. Like they stitched me up and it was fine. I also had, I forgot what it's called, but basically where there's a chance that some of my placenta could be left behind, which when they told me that I was a bit like, well, what does that mean? And she was just like, basically like you'll just have to keep an eye on like bleeding and stuff like that because you can get an infection. And that scared the shit out of me, knowing that there could be bits of placenta left inside of me and I could get an infection which could basically lead to sepsis. So I'm thinking, oh my gosh. So after I had him, like the weeks, like the last 5 weeks, I've been panicking thinking, oh my gosh, have I got some left behind me? Any little pain? If I'm like bleeding, anything? I'm like, oh my gosh, like is that my placenta? But yeah, I've been fine, luckily. But yeah, and then obviously my husband cut the cord, and yeah, it was such a lovely calm birth. I'm probably making it sound like such like a panicky sort of experience, but it was so calm. And I'm so proud of myself because I was so anxious and so nervous, and it was absolutely fine. Like it was fine. I delivered a big baby, which, you know, I was petrified at doing, but it was such a positive experience, and I'm like, I would love to do it again. I would love to give birth again. I've just got to persuade my husband to have another baby. He's like, no, I'm done, I hate seeing you in pain. But to be honest, I don't think giving birth's that painful. Obviously it's painful, but I think it's my brain obviously playing tricks on me because it is painful, but it's all good. I just done it on gas and air. Like I said, that shit's good. I loved it. But yeah, so I hope you found my birth story helpful. If you have any questions, you can just pop them below and I'll answer them. But I would love some feedback on my first ever YouTube video. I'll be sharing a lot of our family life and vlogs and stuff because I just think it'd just be so lovely to look back on.